Alright, well the truck's up to 4,411 miles, so I thought I'd do a quick review on my experiences thus far. This being a 2014 Ram 2500 with the 6.7 Cummins, 6-speed automatic, 4-wheel drive. And so far, no problems. I shouldn't say no problems. Been a couple minor things. One being power steering line, one of the return lines off the pump developed a leak. Thought it had developed a leak a second time after I'd taken it into the dealer to have the line replaced, and turns out it was just the sloppy work in the dealership. They didn't wipe off the fluid the first time it leaked, and so I saw it dripping and freaked out. Turned out to be a false alarm. Second minor thing, not so much minor, was one of the, I'll take a shot of it and probably insert it about here. So as you can see, the EGR, I guess it would be the, was it the bypass pulley, I believe is what it's called. One of the seals in there is leaking, but it seems to have subsided significantly now that the temperatures have gotten warmer. I don't know if maybe it's just metal expanding, contracting to a certain degree in colder weather, and so that made it leak. I really don't know. My local dealership told me that it was normal leakage. I find that hard to believe, given the fact that what I can see probably isn't as bad as what I can't see as far as like exhaust gases getting out through there. So that doesn't really hold water with me. But like I said, now that it's warmed up, it seems to have subsided. Really no problems. Only warning lights I've ever had come on here are if you watch the cold start video that I made, which still baffles me is its popularity. You'll see a service anti-lock brake system message pop up on the dash, and that's the only thing that's ever popped up on this truck as far as a warning light. I've had no check engine lights, no service whatever system lights at all. Also haven't done any modifications engine-wise to the thing. I mean, apart from like mud flaps, floor mats, a back rack, that's really it. So yeah, otherwise, no problems. Things I really like about the truck: coil sprung rear suspension. Holy shit. Hauls weight perfectly fine, if not a little bit better maybe than Leafs. I've had the back of this truck loaded with firewood all the way to the end of the bed to the top of the cab, stacked. You could, I mean, you know it was there, but it wasn't wobbling any more than my 01 with leaf springs, and that's a 3/4 ton as well. So, coil springs awesome, unloaded ride awesome. So I'm really a big fan of those. Other improvement that I like, well, the whole interior. It's really just a nice place to be, even though I've only got a tradesman edition, so it's not top of the line. You hear that? That'd be the exhaust brake. Top of the line with dual zone climate control and fucking touch screen and all that. I got it to be a work truck and does that just fine. Sound system, nothing to write home about, but it does the job. Certainly better than my 2001, where it had, I think the 2 back speakers were all that was still going. So, satellite radio reception's a bit sketchy with that, so that, having the iPod in the center console, that's nice, along with the auxiliary input jack. I like having the exhaust brake. You hear it right there. I love having how it's got the dual settings on it, automatic and full bore, if you will. Automatic being when you let off the throttle, it just basically maintains your speed if you were ever to roll faster than when you let off. full bore. As soon as you let off the throttle, every time it comes on, like there. Hopefully you guys are hearing that. I've got my crappy $20 eBay microphone hooked up here. So really, I mean, I really like the whole package. I think it's really a well-equipped truck for what it is, and everything seems to be put together quite well. So I'm really happy with it. Some things I dislike about it, not really so much of a dislike as, it's kind of a dislike, but took a little getting used to, and I still quite haven't figured it out, is the towing mirrors. They switched them up on, I'm not sure if all 4th gens, or certainly this one, where it's not just the corner of the mirror like on the previous, 2nd and 3rd generation towing mirrors, where it's just like the upper corner is the fisheye effect. They've got like 1/3 almost of the mirror is fisheye, and granted that part you can move independently of the regular glass, which is powered, but trying to set it up just so is a real pain in the ass. I don't know, it's just, I can never really get it just how I need it in order to see in the back, to be able to back up with just the mirrors. Another thing that I really don't understand why they did this, but no fuel cap. I don't get that. I actually end up buying an aftermarket fuel cap that snaps over the top of the filler neck just to keep debris out. Insert a shot here. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of dirt that gets in behind there. So, granted there are 2 flaps, which is another issue, because not all pumps like having the 2 flaps. For whatever reason, the nozzle, some of them doesn't get down in there enough to open that second flap. So you end up having to frig around the nozzle and get it in just the right position in order to open that second thing. It just seems like overly engineered for no real good reason. I'm not a fan of that. The DEF fluid, really not a complaint. Sort of a non-issue at this point. I've had no problems whatsoever with it. Currently, well, the truck says I'm getting 19, which, I'm actually getting about 17 right now. The lyometer there is ever hopeful, just like it is on all the older trucks, so that's not really a big surprise to me. I'll insert a shot here of me flipping through the screens. You can see quite a few parameters, if you will. Which is really nice, which brings me to another dislike, and that would be the lack of physical gauges. Granted, you can see all the things that you would see with your regular gauge group, but there's something about having just that needle in a round dial that's a bit reassuring to me. Just so I can look down, oh, okay, oil pressure's whatever, fuel, okay, amps, temp, that kind of thing. Just be able to look down and see it versus, oh, what does this little screen have to say? It does the same thing. It's really not, I'm just really bitching here, but it's just something that gets me. One dislike I have with that screen is that when you shut the truck off and then restart it, it doesn't go back to the screen you had it on. Or more so, it doesn't go back to, I would get it if it went back every time to the gauge summary. That'd be fine. Do that every single time, no problem. Oh yeah, just pull her out in front of me. That'd be fine. Go back to the gauge summary. But it doesn't. It's either got like the list of like speedometer, vehicle info, fuel economy, whatnot, the far back display, or it's got your tire pressure. I mean, granted, tire pressure is nice to know, but I don't really see why you would put that as the default setting. That makes no sense to me. So I don't really like that. As far as the emissions equipment goes, I've got no problems with it at the moment. I'm getting reasonable fuel economy. I figure 17 is perfectly reasonable for a 7,000-pound vehicle. So I've got no problems with it at the moment. Everything's working perfectly fine. No DPFs plugged up, no DEF malfunctions, no EGR apart from that leakage. Real malfunctions. So at the moment, I'm really not all rah-rah gung-ho on deleting stuff, especially considering that the aftermarket hasn't come out with something to do so. You can obviously delete the 2010 through 2012 4th-gen Cummins powered Rams. 1314s with the DEF system. The aftermarket hasn't done so yet. I've heard tell there's a guy on YouTube who claims to have a 2013 dually that's been deleted. I'm really not going to sit and try to disprove him or congratulate him. I really don't care. I mean, I'm not going to drop $45,000 on this truck. Well, 43.8, 45 by the time you register the thing, on this truck, and then just start ripping all this shit off of it. You know, it's working fine. If it ain't broke, I'm not gonna try fixing it. So that's how I feel about the emissions stuff. I mean, obviously they will fuck up at some point. That's granted. I'm not gonna sit here and say that's a perfect system and nothing's ever gonna go wrong. It'll go wrong. I accept that. But I'm at least going to give it a few years, and by that point, something will have been produced. I mean, we already have. Beginning of the year, there was only, I think, Bully Dog was about the only tuner. Now there's TS has come out with a one, Edge is coming out with a Juice for this. There are a few others that are come out. So, I mean, the aftermarket is catching up. S&B and AFE have come out with air intake systems that utilize that Ram Active Air, which I like that. I think that's a cool idea with the shutter behind the grille or the air intake from inside the fender. I think that's a nice idea. But like I said, the aftermarket I think is slowly catching up with these trucks. Not that they're all that different really from a Ford or a Chevy setup. And Dodge has been using DEF in the cab chassis since 2010, I believe. I'm sure you'll correct me in the comments. And those trucks can be deleted, which I guess it's just down to programming, really, as to why these newer ones can't. But like I said, I guess some guys have, but it involved them ripping off stuff and leaving sensors dangling. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that to a brand new vehicle. That's just me. You do what you want to your truck, fine, but I'm going to leave this thing be unless something screws up royally, in which case, yeah, I'll investigate other options. But for the time being, I've got no problems. And like I said, really no problems any which way. So, performance-wise, the torque management is rather aggressive in this. Off the line, it's not that great. It will not throw you back in your seat. The Duramax and the Power Strokes will. I think a lot of that has to do with torque management. Also, the fact that the V8s are faster revving than the inline six, so you get that more instantaneous, I can't snap my fingers acceleration. You get this thing rolling 40 miles an hour or so, and roll on. Don't floor it, because obviously turbocharged and you're going to get some of that lag, but roll onto it and it's just like a fucking freight train. I mean, you can go from 40 and look down and be doing 85 pretty darn quick. I'm going to stop trying to snap my fingers because that doesn't really work. So no, I mean, it's got plenty of bag for me. I think this one's rated 370 horse, 800 foot-pounds at the crank. So I mean, still, that's probably, what, about 340 or so making it to the wheels, I would assume. Probably about 750 torque, which, considering I was putting along last year in a 91 first gen that made a whopping 160 horse, 400 foot-pounds at the crank. We've come a bit of a ways. Granted, this weighs more, but still, that's a hell of a lot of power. So no, I've got no problem with that. Like I said, interior ergonomics, fine and dandy with me. It's basically all black and gray in here. I'll do a panorama shot. Insert here. So as you can see, it's not really bling bling, but it gets the job done. It does everything I need it to. I do like how the Hvac setup is just 3 knobs. I know a guy that I work with, he's got an F1, was it 2012, 2011, something like that, F-150. I mean, the whole center stack's just buttons, which, I mean, yeah, it does the job, but do you really need that many? I mean, there's literally like 30 friggin' buttons. I think he's got 10 buttons for each one of the presets for the radio. It's like, okay. Bit excessive. I really like the design of this. It's upgraded just enough from the previous generation to make it nice, I think. So no, really, I mean, I've got no problems with this truck. And certainly the crew cab configuration here, which I don't know if you can see behind me, plenty of room in the back seat. I think the Mega Cab has the same foot room in the back seat, but there's was it probably a good 8 inches or so behind the seats, so you can store stuff behind the seats, and the seats recline and all that good stuff. But for me, the crew cab's plenty functional. So yeah, I guess to wrap it up, 4,400 miles, no complaints. Apart from really power steering line leaking, we got that fixed. The EGR, we'll see if that really becomes a problem. Hopefully not. So hopefully some of this info helped you guys. I know one of you guys was messaging me on the other video there about these trucks and should he buy one, should he not? I think he should. That's just me. If you can, I would. Unless you're dead set against emissions equipment, then get 2012 and back if you like this body style, but don't want to deal with that, so you can delete it. But no, otherwise, I love it. In comparison to that 01 or my 91, it's progressed a lot, which it should. So yeah, that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.